Alright, welcome back to our sixth video in the Unity 6 2D platformer series. This time we're going to be going over a little bit of level design stuff, specifically with regards to creating tile maps. We'll create some tile maps, we'll set up a palette and organize some files, we'll add some collisions so the player can interact with the ground and walk on it. And then if there's time, we'll do that first. We'll go ahead and start setting up some prefabs. That way we don't have to do it later. So this might be a little bit longer video because of that, but shouldn't be too much longer. So let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is click on my assets folder. So if you see, these are the files we have so far, or folders we have so far. We're going to make one more, so we'll go ahead and right click in the gray area here, go to create, go to folder. We're going to type in _ prefabs, and this is going to be what's going to hold our prefabs. Keep all the spelling the same. So what is a prefab is what I hear some of you asking if this is your first time in as far as making games, and if it is, then welcome to a wonderful community. So prefabs are usable game objects that allow us to create and reuse objects throughout the levels without duplicating them manually. We can use them to make centralized changes. So if we have to edit the player, which we're going to turn into a prefab here shortly, we can just open up that prefab and make the edits, and it'll affect all the other instances of the player throughout the game. They're memory efficient, especially when they're being used repeatedly for like collectibles and stuff like that, so it helps with optimizing performance. More commonly, you'll see them used in collectibles like coins, gems, hearts, enemies, other interactable objects like doors and stuff. So first thing we're going to do is, now that we got this folder created, we can open that up or we can leave it closed. The choice is yours. I'm going to open it up and I'm going to drag two things in there. I'm going to drag the player, and you'll see that now the player word player turns blue. That shows that it's now a prefab, so any instance of the player that we pull out into a level is going to be blue. Alright, I'm also going to take the camera. Not that we did a lot to it, all we did was just add the script to it, but I don't really want to go messing with all these settings and trying to remember those again. I feel like being a little lazy, so I'm going to go ahead and drop that in there as well. Right. Because we made changes and turned those into prefabs, we need to save, so Control S to save our test level. Now, with that being said, let's get into the bulk of the meat and potatoes, the bulk of it, and that's the tile maps. So let's go ahead and create a new scene by going to File, New Scene. I'm going to create a new built-in basic 2D scene. It has the camera, but I don't need the camera, so delete the camera. Add in our camera because it's better, because it has our script to it. We'll add in our player just because that way we can go ahead and set up the camera as it's needed. Let's try this again. There we go. Alright, now that that's all set up, let's go ahead and save our scene. Control S to save it. Go into our scenes, and we'll just name this Test Level 2. Now that's saved, that way we don't have to redo that small part in case it crashes. And let's get started. First thing we need to do is create a grid. So if you right click in your hierarchy, you can go to 2D Object, Tile Map, and we'll use rectangular. It's a few different options, but our tiles are rectangular, or square, so we're going to use a rectangular grid. And this one's called Tile Map. We don't need to create a background tile map, but I like to, because I like to have a little more control if I want to extend the sky and stuff without having to layer them on top of each other. It just makes it easier for me. I'm going to go ahead and create another one. And this one's going to be called Middle Ground. And then one more for our foreground. Alright, Now, let's go ahead and put these on the respective sorting layers. Background, background, and then foreground, and this one needs to be on one so it doesn't get drawn below the background. And our foreground, we're going to change that layer to ground, otherwise we'll forget, and then the player will fall through the ground, right? And it'll be embarrassing for everybody, right? Well, no, just for me, but that's besides the point. All right, now let's get started. We have a bunch of environments that we can use. I'm going to go ahead and use, I'm going to combine two different ones, I think. So I'm going to use this treasure hoard one. I'm going to go into the PNG files. See, these are the guys right there. Okay. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to press create. And I'm going to go to no, I'm not. I'm going to go to folder. I'm going to name it palette because I like to create my palettes in the folders where I'm using the art assets from. I am not a pixel artist as much as I try to be, so I do end up supporting the community and buying a lot of assets from them. So right click, create in our palettes folder, 2D. We're going to go to tile palette. No, we're not. No, we're not. Yes, we are. Create 2D tile palette, rectangular. There we go. There's that one. Alright. Actually, no, we're not. Change my mind. We're not going to do it that way. I don't like it. We're going to go to window instead. And we're going to open up our window. So 2D, we're going to open our palette window. Alright, I prefer to do it like this. So we can go ahead and just click where it says BG palette. This is the jungle palette from our test level 1. I'm going to go ahead and open up a BG palette to drop down and choose create a new tile palette. I'm going to name this treasure, treasure palette. This time I'll spell palette correctly, since I apparently misspelled it before. Then press create. Now we need a place to save it. It automatically tried to save it in my palette folder because that's what I had open down here, which is exactly what I wanted. So I'm going to press select folder, and there you go. There it is, created right there. Now, to drag and drop these in, we just need to find it and go into our PNG files. We got our background right here that we can drop in. That's fine. But look at that is not correct, is it? So, how do we fix it? This is how we're gonna fix it. So go ahead and oh, I also saved it in the wrong folder. Whoops. So we already saw that wasn't correct, that it didn't display correctly, so that's fine. What we are gonna do though is click on background. We're gonna come over here into our inspector, click on single, then multiple. Alright, I know the level, I want it to be 16 pixels per unit. And so I'm gonna go ahead and press apply. And then I'm going to open up my sprite editor. So we got our sprite editor right here. And we're going to go ahead and just slice it. I'm not going to use automatic. I'm going to go grid by cell size. As you can see, it's trying to cut it 64 by 64. Let's go ahead and change that to 16 by 16. You'll see that it cuts out pretty evenly. So I'm just going to, I'm okay with it. So let's go ahead and press slice and then apply. Now, some people are going to want to go ahead and put their the background in there as separate objects. That's totally cool. I'm not gonna hate you for it. I'm not gonna judge you for it. This is just my preference, is to do everything as separate tile maps, as far as the background, middle ground, etc. I'm going to repeat the same process with the back gold and then the regular, and the front gold, and then the ground. So bring in, click on back gold, multiple, 16, press apply, open that up. let's see what it looks like. So here's an instance where it doesn't quite work out well. Okay, there's a little bit of extra space over here. There's a little bit of extra space down here, and we could play with it a little bit, try to figure it out. Okay, so I already know 15 would work in the Y, because if I look down here, it has 60 in the Y. If I wanted to, I already saw that there's 3 pixels down, so I could create a 4th one by just making them all the same in the Y. And so 60 divided by 4 is 15. Now if we come over here, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 23. So we're going to want to try to get 24 out of those. So let's go ahead and open up our handy dandy calculator. If we go 374 divided by 24, we get about 15 and a half. So we may not even be able to get a full 15 out of them, but let's go ahead and give it a shot. So nope. $17 though, we can do 17. 17 works. So we went 17 by 15, and that gave us what we needed. And then we can go ahead and slice that up and then apply that and close that, and we can go ahead and drag that one in. I'll put it up here just to keep things organized. There we go. Boom. All right, the gold is probably going to be close to the same thing. The dimensions are a little bit wonky on it, so we'll try to keep those the same and see what happens. Let's see here. So let's see here. 62 divided by 4 is 15.75. Oh, I did 63. Whoops. 62 divided by 4 is 15 and a half. What about 62 divided by 5? Or, whoops, not 5. Obviously, that wouldn't divide by 5. 6. 10.3. So, we're going to, what covers the most area? 15 covers the most area in this, so we'll leave that at 15. We'll keep it at 16 for now. It's going to be cut off a little bit here at the edge. I guess that's okay for this. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 24. Look like 25? Because 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So, and then that little extra bit there. I don't want to do the padding, because then we're going to be missing a slice of pixels and drawings from each one. So, and that's not going to divide into 25 evenly. 17, 18, 19, 20. It won't divide into 2 evenly, or 10. Or 6. So yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and leave it like that just for right now, for the sake of this, and we're gonna go ahead and place that here. There we go. And then for our ground will hopefully be pretty even. Let's see. So 48 and 48, both go into 4 equally. So I should be able to go 16 by 16, and there we go. Alright. And we'll just plop this in there like that. So now we got our palette together. I got one more I'm going to add in there that's going to be a little wonky bit of a ground tile. And I want to use this lava place one. So this lava place one is 48 by 60. So it's not going to be divided in by 16 pretty even or evenly on the Y. Right? So if we wanted to use this one as well, we can do the same thing. Multiple 16, apply. Open up the sprite editor, and you can see it's already like got some pre-saved things with it, because I was testing out to make sure that it was going to work right. But basically what happens is if I went to be 16 by 16, you got this giant empty space here. So I want 4 down and I want 3 across. So I know 3 divided by 48 is 16, so I know the x can be 16. 60 to get it to be 4 down, I divide 60 by 4 and I get 15. If I slice it, and now it's got 4 equal, at least in the Y, right, sections, and press apply. And then I can drag this in there, and then I got a little like death trap area for my character. So if I'm gonna go ahead and draw this in, we can draw the background in real quick. Try this again. Background in real quick by just grabbing it and drawing it in there. Whoops. All right, let's try this. Boom. If you wanted to adjust it some, right, you can rotate it. You can flip it around, and like so, right? This isn't going to be a very big level, especially now that the dogs are barking again. So let's go ahead and on our middle ground, we'll add in some of these darker gold bits. Like that. If I wanted to, I could add a second middle ground here to add in some of the closer up gold bits. So 2D object, tile map, rectangular. We're gonna go ahead and just slide that right there. We'll say front gold. There we go. Now we can put this guy and kind of just like lay them over it like so. There we go, something like that. I don't like having that empty space there, so let's go to our background. Putting that in. Now for the foreground. For the foreground, it's as simple as just taking your tiles and putting them in. Just like so. If I wanted to make some thinner pieces for the player to have to jump on or try to do long jump to, I could do that. If I want to be nice, I could add something down here in case they miss, that'll catch them. And then down here again, like so. Now, for this lava piece, if I left it on the foreground, then the player would be able to walk on it. So that's not what I want. I want it to be a separate entity, not something the player can walk on. Tile map, we're gonna go to rectangular, and this is gonna be my lava right here. I'm gonna go ahead and put that up here above the foreground so it's drawn in and with it and behind it. So I'm gonna just put these right here There we go. Something about like that. Really, if I wanted to, I could just get rid of all that right there. So we don't need this either. Alright, there we go. Very simple, very basic. Nothing super fancy, just kind of showing you guys how to do tile maps. Now, to get it so that your player can interact with it, we're going to add a couple of colliders. The first one we're going to do is a tile map collider. So tile map collider. I'm going to add that in. Oops. And what that does is it automatically adds colliders to your player. So if I take the player and I press play, hold on, and I press play, it should work, question mark. And there he is, he's running around, and that works just fine. The problem is that this is really processing heavy, and I really don't like, this is the one thing I don't like about Unity's tile map system. See these little pixels right here? It deletes some edges of it sometimes, and in this case it looks like it's actually based on the pixel size. It looks like we got 16 all the way across, and it's just like removing a bit of the pixels. Sometimes that happens with the tile map editor. I don't know why. If you guys know in the comments, go ahead and let me know, because it's really annoying. So let's see, does it do it to the back gold pieces? It does too, but it doesn't do it to, it may be just because they are not like even, because if you look at the background, it doesn't do the background, but it does it to the lava as well. So yeah, kind of annoying. I'll mess around with it, and if I find a fix for it, I will definitely let you guys know in a follow-up video, or maybe I'll edit this one and then re-upload it. Who knows? Alright, so as you can see, I'm adding these in to kind of fill in those spots a little bit in the background that was showing. But if you look, the lava is drawn below it. That's because we have this on our background. The lava is on default. Let's go ahead and add that to foreground, and it's still not drawing it over, which is really weird. You know why? Because I drew that on the foreground instead of where it needed to be. So let's add that back. Not sprite editor. Let's go ahead and, there we go. And let's open up our window again, 2D tile palette. Now that we're on the background, it should work just fine. And it's not, question mark. Oh, you know why? Because both were set to 0. So if I put this on 1, then it'll draw it behind. Okay, it's not, which is weird. There we go. Because at that time I was drawing it on the lava tile because I was being a dingus. So there we go. Let's fix that. Put that back in there here. There we go. Now that that's all fixed, still got those lines, those edges right there that we gotta fix and fill in. I gotta figure that one out. That's gonna annoy me. I think it's because we have a map set to 15, So it's actually like removing a pixel on each end is what it's doing. If we go back and we edit it, we can put it back to 16. I'm not gonna like it, but we can put it back to 16. Oops, not 16, 16x 16y. If we apply it there, it didn't even delete it that time. Slice, delete existing, apply. Now if we do it, it should be fine and there won't be that annoyance. And then get this back in there. This has gone longer than I wanted, and I'm just messing with this, so I apologize. Let's get back to what I was doing before I got distracted with myself, and I apologize. So, for the foreground, a less expensive way when it comes to processing is to add what's called a Composite Collider, and you'll see that it automatically adds a rigid body, so we're going to want to change that to static. Otherwise, everything is going to fall down ground-wise. And what we can do is in our tile map collider, it used to say used composite by composite, and they removed that and added this composite operation. Just change that to merge, and now everywhere there's a collider, it's going to merge it into one single square collider to fit around it. So now with that done, we should be able to still press play and move our player around. And it moves a lot smoother now that it doesn't have all that processing. And then I died because I went in the lava. So that what should have been probably an 18-minute video turned into 27. I do apologize, but in this video we learned how to create a pixel map, add some create a palette, add some colliders to our tile maps as needed. We also created some prefabs. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video where we will look into creating a health system, and then eventually we'll get into enemies after that. So until then, make more games.